Have you ever wondered whether Adam was truly the first human being to walk the earth? For thousands of years, this question has fascinated scholars, religious believers, and scientists alike. Was Adam a literal person created by divine command, or a symbolic story that conveys moral truths about humanity? Today, we're diving deep into this intriguing mystery, exploring ancient scriptures, the latest scientific discoveries in genetics and archaeology, and how different cultures and faiths interpret our origins. Join us on this fascinating journey as we unravel the evidence, challenge assumptions, and open up new perspectives. Whether you approach this question from a spiritual, scientific, or curious mindset, what you learn here might just change the way you see yourself and our shared history. So, stay tuned, because the story of Adam isn't just about the past, it's about understanding what it means to be human today. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling one of the most profound and debated questions at the intersection of faith, history, and science. Was Adam the first human on Earth? For billions of people, the story of Adam and Eve is a foundational truth, the origin story of humanity itself. But for modern science, the story of human origins is a sprawling saga spanning millions of years, involving hominids, archaeological finds, and complex genetic evidence. So, are these two narratives irreconcilably opposed? Or is there a way to understand them together? In this video, we're not going to give you a simple yes or no. Instead, we're going on a journey to explore the evidence, the interpretations, and the fascinating possibilities. We'll break this down into 3 parts. 1. The biblical account. What does the book of Genesis actually say about Adam? 2. The scientific perspective. What does the fossil and genetic record tell us about the first humans? 3. The Great Reconciliation. How are theologians, philosophers, and scientists trying to bridge this gap? So, grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get started. Part 1. The biblical Adam, more than just a man of dust. Let's begin with the source, the book of Genesis. If you read carefully, you'll notice there are actually 2 creation accounts, and they have subtle but important differences. In Genesis chapter 1, we have the grand, cosmic poem of creation. God creates the world in 6 days, and on the 6th day, it says. So God created mankind in his own image, in the image of God he created them, male and female he created them. Genesis 1 verse 27. Here, Adam isn't a name, it's the Hebrew word for humanity or mankind. It's collective. It presents the simultaneous creation of male and female. Then we flip the page to Genesis chapter 2. This is a more intimate, ground-level story. Here, God forms Ha-Adam, the man, from the dust of the ground, Adamah. He places him in the Garden of Eden, and later, seeing that it is not good for the man to be alone, God creates woman from his side. The Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Genesis 2 verse 7. This is where the individual named Adam emerges. So, from a purely textual standpoint, is Genesis intended to be a literal, scientific, historical report? Many biblical scholars, even within conservative traditions, argue no. They point out that the genre of these early chapters of Genesis is widely considered to be theological and symbolic narrative. Its primary purpose was to answer fundamental questions for the ancient Israelites: who is God? Who are we? Who made the world and why is the world broken? It establishes core truths, that God is the sovereign creator, that humanity is made in his image with a special role, and that sin is a rupture in our relationship with God and creation. The idea of Adam as a single, solitary first human is a specific interpretation of this text. But the text itself is more layered. It's concerned with the why of humanity, not necessarily the how or the when in a modern scientific sense. Part 2, the scientific story, a vast human tapestry. Now, let's shift gears to the scientific narrative. This story isn't found in a single book, but is painstakingly pieced together from fossils, artifacts, and most powerfully, our DNA. The scientific consensus is clear: humanity did not spring from a single couple 6,000 years ago. Instead, our story is one of deep time and population. First, the fossil record. We have evidence of hominids, our evolutionary ancestors, going back millions of years. From Australopithecus afarensis like Lucy to Homo erectus, who first migrated out of Africa. Our own species, Homo sapiens, appears in the fossil record around 300,000 years ago in Africa. Second, and perhaps even more compelling, is genetics. By studying the DNA of diverse human populations today, scientists can trace our lineage back to a common ancestor. But here's the key point: that ancestor wasn't a single individual. We have what's known as mitochondrial Eve and Y-chromosomal Adam. These are fascinating concepts, but they're often misunderstood. Mitochondrial Eve is the most recent common female ancestor from whom all living humans inherit their mitochondrial DNA. Y-chromosomal Adam is the most recent common male ancestor from whom all living men inherit their Y chromosome. Crucially, they did not live at the same time. Scientists estimate they lived tens of thousands of years apart. And most importantly, they were not the only humans alive on the planet. They were simply the ones whose specific genetic lineages survived, while the lineages of their contemporaries died out. The scientific picture is of a population. A founding group of several thousand Homo sapiens in Africa, from which all modern humans descend. There was no first couple, there was a first community. So, from a strict biological and historical standpoint, science tells us Adam, as a singular first human, could not have existed. Part 3, Bridging the Gap, Adam as archetype, representative, or metaphor. So, we're left with a seeming contradiction. A foundational religious story and a robust scientific narrative that appear to conflict. But what if they're answering different questions? What if first, in a theological sense doesn't mean first, in a chronological, biological sense? This is where we enter the realm of interpretation, and there are several compelling models. 1. The archetypal view. In this view, Adam and Eve are not historical individuals but archetypes representing all of humanity. The story is a true myth. It conveys profound truth about the human condition, our createdness, our purpose, our tendency to choose self over God, sin, and the resulting brokenness we all experience. In this model, the fall isn't a one-time historical event but a description of a universal reality. This view aligns easily with science but requires a non-literal reading of Genesis. 2. The historical representative view. This is a middle ground position that accepts the scientific account of a large initial human population. In this model, God chose a specific pair of Homo sapiens from this population, let's call them Adam and Eve, and endowed them with his image day, the image of God, in a unique way. This could mean granting them a new level of moral consciousness, self-awareness, or the capacity for a relationship with the divine. They are then appointed as the covenant representatives for all of humanity. When they fell, their rebellion affected not just themselves, but the entire human race they represented. This view preserves a historical fall while accepting the scientific population model. 3. The literary theological view. This view, common among many biblical scholars, sees the Genesis story as a polemic, an argument against the other creation myths of the ancient Near East. Unlike the Babylonians, who saw humans as slaves to capricious gods, Genesis presents a single, sovereign, and good God who creates humans with dignity and purpose. Adam's story is less about biology and more about theology, crafted to teach specific truths about God and humanity's relationship to him. Each of these models has its strengths and challenges, and they are debated vigorously within religious circles. The key takeaway is that for many people of faith, accepting the scientific evidence does not require abandoning the spiritual truth of the Adam and Eve story. So, was Adam the first human on Earth? The literal, biological answer from science appears to be no. Evidence. Did I miss a crucial perspective? Please leave your thoughtful comments down below. Let's have a respectful and fascinating discussion. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content exploring the big questions at the intersection of science, history, and faith. And ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. The Banned Books of the Bible, the reason will surprise you. Thank you for watching.